What is the significance of this game in your mind?
Well, I think it's huge for BYU in general. Just being a part of the Big 12 has been exciting for everyone, and now being able to host those games and the teams from the Big 12 coming to Provo is it's a big deal for everybody, I think. So I'm sure it'll be a packed house, and the excitement's building, and a Friday game as well. So that's always fun.
What is the move for BYU to the Big 12 ultimately mean, you think, not just for this program, but for athletics, the university as a whole?
Well, it gives credibility. I think that you're in a top conference. You're a part of something. In the past, being independent, it was always tough because you're kind of out there just floating. There's no Big 12 honors. There's no conference honors. You're just kind of playing the games and trying to do the best you can. Here you're competing for a conference championship, and so that's, I think, special and a little bit extra bonus for the players, for the coaches, and some for the fans to look at in the standings every year.
Obviously, the Big 12, very rich football schools that have fans that travel. They'll be coming to Provo. Provo's obviously a unique place to play for so many, especially if you've never been to Utah. It's very unique. What do you think the out-of-state or, the non-Utah fan experiences when they come to a football game in Provo?
Well, they might have to stock up at the local liquor store more than any other place. It won't be as readily available as most towns in the South where they're coming from. But overall, I think the beauty of the setting of the mountains right there in the background. It's a great time of year right now. I imagine the leaves are turning, and hopefully they just take all that in. I know coming from Texas, my first trip up to Provo, it was like, wow, this is like right on top of you, and so I think they'll have a great experience. The fans hopefully treat them right, and they just are able to take in the beauty of the experience of the mountains right on top of the stadium.
Hey, what do people ask you about your time at BYU? What's the most common thing you're asked about your time spent in Provo as a Coug?
Just kind of the overall experience, really. I don't think there's been, any one thing in particular, but just, being from Texas and then coming to Provo, what was that like, and how was your experience there? And so for me, it was, it couldn't have gone any better. It was the perfect fit, the right time, the right place, all those things, with surrounded by the right people, and it all worked out and was a great experience for me. So it was a little bit of culture change, climate change, all of those things involved, but again, it was really the perfect fit for me.
Heisman Trophy winner, college football Hall of Famer, and then ultimately an NFL quarterback. So when you, in that perspective, look at current BYU alum in the NFL playing the quarterback position, so that would be Zach Wilson, Taysom Hill, even Jaron Hall a little bit, if he gets some snaps. What do you notice some of the translation to the college ability to the NFL ability and what they can do in the pros?
Yeah, I think, all are obviously talented or they wouldn't be there, right? I mean, you got to have something to you just to get that opportunity. And so sometimes it comes down to the right fit, the right people around you, the right offensive scheme, the belief the staff has in you, some of those things. So sometimes, like I always tell people, when you're choosing a college, you go pick a situation that fits for you. And in the NFL, you're told where to go, and maybe that's not always the best place for you individually and personally. And so you kind of weave your way and try to find that right fit as quick as you can to give yourself an opportunity to be successful. So I felt like where I went, Green Bay was the perfect time, the perfect place. The right coaching staff was in place where you had a bunch of those guys go on to become head coaches, and you knew people across the league and always had a place to go when the time came to maybe make a change. So I got to sit behind Brett Favre and learn kind of through him, and Steve Mariucci, John Gruden, Andy Reid, all offensive coaches on that staff, and so it was really the perfect place to go right out of college. And not everybody gets to have that opportunity. Sometimes you're at the mercy of the organization or the people around you.
BYU-Utah will become a real thing again, right? Like that in the future when this all kind of plays itself out. What does that mean for just Utah being a primary football state in the eyes of others, with that matchup being alive and well as a true rivalry? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's important for everybody in the state. Everybody's going to compare themselves against each other, right? And especially BYU and Utah fans. And so having the opportunity to play it out on the field and really determine who has bragging rights for that year is fun for the whole state. It's fun for college football to have those rivalries and across the country. And so I think for BYU and Utah, it's something that should happen just for the good of the state, good of the game, and under the right circumstances. If it gets too bitter and too toxic, then it becomes a problem. But I think overall with the staffs that are in place, there's a lot of ties at both places. And as coaches and players, you want to play and have that fun rivalry. And sometimes the fans take it a little too far, but overall, it's a great opportunity to showcase the state of Utah across the country.
Coach, what's the mindset you're trying to instill in kids today? There's so much obviously on social media. The kids are trying to get recruited. I mean, there's so much focus on the future. I feel like the level you're at too. But what is the mindset you're trying to instill in kids today about where they are today and where they can go if they have that ability?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, most kids aren't going to have that opportunity to play college football, and so for them, it's enjoy the ride. Whatever role you're in, control the controllables. Your attitude and effort, and then the coaches have to make the other decisions, and that goes with college as well. They've got to recruit, and they've got to take kids that they feel like fit their program, and so that may not be you, but you can control the type of energy you bring, the type of high school career you have by just working and letting everybody else figure out the things you can't control. And so, a lot of kids do, college recruiting's tough with the portal and NIL and everything that goes into it. It's hard on high school kids to be able to get recruited, first of all. Second, you're out there just trying to promote yourself, but at the end of the day, you got to focus on what's right ahead of you, and that means the next practice, the next play, the next game, and not get caught up in everything else, and just enjoy the time that you have and be present where you're at. So we've got a good group down here. We're having a good season and having a lot of fun with these young men.